the Galactic Biological Council had reached a conclusion that seemed impossible to be wrong. Specimen 882 human is classified as a low-tier organism, environmentally dependent, cognitively fragmented, unstable. A cold voice from the central AI system echoed through the chamber. Cognitive processing capability, linear. Thought pattern, single-threaded. Psychological state, fragile. A scientist from Species X nodded, their tentacles twitching slightly. They possess only one brain, one stream of thought at a time. Compared to us multi-threaded, multi-layered, multi-reality, they are primitive. Another being chuckled softly. It's fascinating that such a weak species has managed to survive this long. And so, the project was approved. Project Human Multi-Consciousness Synchronization. The objective was simple. If humans are weak because they have only one consciousness, then give them more. Lab 2 was not an ordinary facility. It was a place where experiments were conducted that even high-tier species refused to approach. At the center of the chamber stood a massive spherical device, the quantum neural synchronizer. A scientist reported. We previously tested this on Tier 5 organisms. When two consciousnesses were forced into a single brain, the result was total cognitive collapse in 0.7 seconds. A screen displayed the data. 2 consciousnesses, insanity. 3 consciousnesses, self-destruction. 4 consciousnesses, brain death. A heavy silence filled the room. Even we naturally multi-conscious beings cannot force multiple entities into a single brain without destroying it. Another scientist spoke slowly. This is not an experiment, this is existential torture. And yet, they turned their gaze toward the human specimens. 10 individuals. 10 separate brains. 10 different lives. About to be forced into one. Initiate synchronization process. A blue light engulfed the chamber. 10 humans of different ages and professions stood within a circle of energy. There was a middle-aged man. A college student. A child. A doctor. A soldier. They looked at each other. Anxious. Confused. The AI's voice echoed. You will be upgraded. Please cooperate. The child raised a hand. Sir, will it hurt? No one answered. The light intensified. And then, it happened. The merging. The control room fell into silence. Readings spiked chaotically. A scientist shouted. The brain is overloading. 10 streams of consciousness are colliding. Collapse imminent. 3 seconds. Wait. Everyone froze. On the screen, the human brain did not explode, did not collapse, did not die. It stabilized. A neural signal appeared. Not 10. Not 1. But something new. Inside the chamber, the middle-aged man opened his eyes. But his gaze was no longer that of a single person. He looked down at his hand. Then spoke. But the voice overlapped. Oh. This is interesting. I can feel everyone. A scientist stepped back. Impossible. The college student stepped forward, or rather, her body did. But the voice was the child's. Wow. I'm inside your head. The soldier laughed. Not just in your head. I can feel all of you. The doctor whispered. Heart rate, synchronized. Emotions, shared. Another voice cut in. Don't tell me we're thinking at the same time. A pause. Then all 10 spoke in unison. Seems like it. In the control room, a scientist trembled. They didn't collapse. They adapted. Data began pouring in like a flood. Cognitive processing speed increased tenfold, no, 50-fold. No cognitive conflict detected. They're not competing for control, they're sharing it. A scientist whispered. But how? The central AI responded. Analyzing the evolutionary history of humans. The screen displayed images of Earth. Storms. Earthquakes. Plagues. Wars. A planet, never at peace. Humans evolved in an environment of extreme stress levels. Their brains developed the ability to process internal conflict. Another image appeared. A human, thinking. Fear. Hope. Doubt. Courage. All, coexisting within one brain. The AI continued. Humans have always been a multi-conscious system. Each individual contains multiple inner voices: instinct, logic, emotion, memory. Conflict is their default state. A scientist was stunned. You mean they're already used to having multiple consciousnesses in their heads? Correct. Inside the lab, the merged entity began to move. Slowly. Steadily. They looked around. 10 humans. One body. Yet no chaos. Instead, they began to play with it. Let me try this. An arm raised. No, me. Wait, coordinate. And then, the arm moved. Smooth. Precise. Faster than any recorded organism. The child spoke. We can think in parallel. The soldier. Tactics, analysis, reflexes all at once. The doctor. I'm monitoring heart rate, respiration, neural activity simultaneously. The student. And I'm thinking about 3 other things. A scientist stepped back, voice shaking. This isn't a failure. This is something new. The central AI issued a warning. Warning, the merged entity is exceeding all predicted limits. Recommendation, immediate termination of synchronization. A scientist shouted. Yes. Separate them. But it was too late. The merged entity turned its head. 10 voices, as one. And now you want to separate us? A smile formed. But we've only just begun. They stepped toward the control console. A scientist tried to stop them. Don't touch that. Too late. In just seconds, they understood the entire system. Not because they were smarter, but because they could. Analyze data. Write code. Predict outcomes. Debug errors. All at once. A scientist whispered. They're learning, too fast. The merged entity looked at the screen. Then said. Oh, you only tested with 10 humans. A pause. Their voice turned, excited. If 10 is stable. What about 100? The entire room fell silent. No, impossible. The entity tilted its head. Or a city. A planet. A scientist stepped back, voice breaking. That's no longer an organism. That's a collective mind. The entity smiled. Softly. Almost harmless. No. That's just. A voice whispered. Human. They turned back to the scientists. Their eyes lit up. Oh, by the way. How many specimens do you have left? A long silence. We'd like to try. Their voice became cheerful. Almost eager. Connecting all of them. And for the first time in the history of the Galactic Biological Council, they felt fear of what they once called weak.